Welcome back for our second week of online biology work for the week of 421 through 427. I hope you enjoyed last week's work. This week we're transitioning into the unit of evolution. So when I was looking at last week's learning checks, I saw some consistent misunderstandings that I want to make sure we clear up. Anytime we change the DNA, it causes a change in the mRNA. And that change in the mRNA sequence is most likely going to cause a change in the protein. The protein is first started by the amino acid sequence, and then that protein folds up into a three-dimensional shape that then goes and does its job. So changes in the DNA ultimately will cause changes in the protein. And some of us didn't quite make that connection. Changes to the protein are going to increase the likelihood that the protein will not function properly, which can lead to either a genetic disadvantage, which is what we studied before all this coronavirus, looking at those genetic disorders, or it can actually lead to a genetic advantage. And it's these advantages and disadvantages that are the basis for a large portion of the data we have for evolution. And so we'll come back to this idea of mutations, not this week, but probably 2 or 3 weeks from now. So remember everything you've learned so far about DNA, RNA, and protein sequence, because it will come back to you. This week we're starting evolution by taking a look at the earth science behind the history of our Earth. We're going to apply scientific reasoning and some evidence from the ancient Earth materials, meteorites, and other planetary surfaces to construct an account of Earth's formation and Earth's early history. We're going to be looking at plate tectonics through a reading to see how that took place. You're also going to evaluate evidence of past and current movements of continental and oceanic crust and the theory of plate tectonics to explain the ages of crustial rocks. By looking at the ages of rocks and fossils, we have a pretty good idea of how life has progressed on Earth, and from that you're going to make a timeline of the history of the Earth. All right, folks, so this week you have 4 tasks that you're going to complete. The first one is a reading, Bang, You're Alive. It's going to look at the Big Bang Theory and the theory of plate tectonics, how the Earth plates have shifted and how those shifting of plates has caused the continents to drift, which will be important in understanding the evidence that we have that evolution has taken place. Then you're going to look at a geological timeline. You're going to construct one. You can do that either by cutting paper into strips, like notebook paper, or you could go outside and make a timeline on your sidewalk using sidewalk chalk if you prefer to be outside, because the weather so far has been nice periodically. But you're going to make a timeline of the geological history. We're going to be using fossil evidence to indicate when life first started and the different forms of life that took place. You're also going to be looking at periods of mass extinction. We know that we can label different eras of time based on mass extinctions. So far in the history of the Earth, there have been at least 5 mass extinctions, and scientists theorize that we are about to enter our 6th mass extinction. And then finally, oh, just kidding. Next, you'll be watching a quick video, a brief history of geological time. That video is fairly short and very informative. And then finally, you'll be answering some questions in the learning check. Just like last week, the learning check is the part that's being collected. It's going to ask questions that you should be able to answer based on the reading, the video, and the timeline that you've created. But as always, it's open note, open book, open internet, so you can Google the answers if you'd like. That's the part that's being collected and graded. And at the end of the learning check, when you submit it and I take a look at it, I've been putting comments in those learning checks, so feel free to log on to Microsoft 365 and open forms, and you should see the form that you completed along with my comments. I hope you have a great week. If you have any questions, you can either email me or you can message me through It's Learning. And as always, Wednesday from 12 to 3, there'll be a video chat if you want to come drop in, ask some questions and drop out, or if you just want to hang and chit chat about whatever's going on in your life, that's fine too. Hope to see you there. Have a great week. I'll see you next week.